Hi guys, and welcome back to Scott Shaves. So we've been exploring the wonderful world of razors, mainly coming from my collection. Not to say that I haven't had some that I've had from borrowed, that I've used on here, but hey, you know what? So today, and I told you, and I promised you that we were going to have some different content, okay? You know, the thing about it is, there's one thing of content that I really haven't seen anywhere, okay? And it's stuff that I've happened to pick up just as being someone who's out in the wild hunting these things all the time, okay? And I am actually someone who sells, not a huge salesperson, but I do have some sales from time to time on razors that I pick up, all right? Because you know what? Why not? Okay? And the reasoning for it, I sell razors that I happen to find in the wild that I already have, okay? I do have one golden rule. And my golden rule is if it's something that is really rare that I already have in my collection, well, I actually leave it there, okay? And the reason I do that is because I know I'm not the only one out in the wild searching for these things, right? So I know there's a bunch of us going around and looking. I can honestly say that I have literally been to every single antique store within an hour and a half of my house, okay? There was a couple new ones that came in here in the last few months. Guess what? Hit them up. Guess what? Hit them up. Because I often go to these places and I'm one of the only ones who will go through, and sometimes I will even clean out what they got in stock. I ran across a fat boy a while back at this really off the beaten path antique store where the guy is actually known for having this immense cuckoo clock, hand carved German cuckoo clock collection upstairs. He doesn't rarely let anyone see the collection, and yeah, you know, just in talking to the guy in passing, it's an older guy. This is his retirement thing. He's been collecting and doing antique things for majority of his life on top of it. And he had some 300 of these hand-carved cuckoo clocks upstairs. And man, was that nuts. And talking to him, he actually let me go upstairs and take a look at them. You know, and hunting his store was really easy. Picking for razors, because I was simply just asked him, said, hey, look, I know this whole store is yours. Do you have any old safety razors? And the guy goes, oh, yeah, you know, rushes around right behind the counter there. And what's he do? He rustles around, and well, lo and behold, he hands me this little metal plate with a safe. Had about 4 safety razors and a couple blade packs in it. And the only one there that was really worth anything was the fat boy, right? And I go, well, what do you want for it? Because it wasn't even tagged. And he goes, well, how about $5? And I was like, $5? And he goes, yeah. Oh, well, I guess what do you want for everything? You know, and you give me 20, it's all yours. And of course, I'm not one to sit there and leave, because chances are the other 2 razors there were flare tips, right? Super Steed flare tips, just kind of like this black handle one here that I have to show you, is not something that a lot of people are there to buy, right? If they see a fat boy for $5, anyone and everyone's going to buy the thing, right? But now that leads me to, what am I going to do in this video, right? We're talking about hunting for razors. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you some of the tips and tricks that I have learned in looking at a good razor under the hood, so to speak. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about twist to opens, and mainly about your slims or any of your other adjustables. Things to look at when you're out hunting in the wild to know whether you got a lemon or you got a possible rocket. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with the good old-fashioned slim. This is a razor that I can't say is highly sought after, but it is definitely sought after. And the reason for it is it's a great introductory razor. These razors can be usually purchased in good condition, anywhere from $30 to $50. If you're looking to get them redone, you can be, you know, talk to Matt out at Razor Emporium, somewhere in the realm of $100 to $150, depending upon what you're trying to do. You know, not to say that there isn't other replating places out there. There is. Miss Matt at Razor Emporium is the guy I always send my stuff to. But, you know, you can use, there's a number out there. There's Backroads Gold, and there's a couple others, all right? But So how do I know whether I'm getting either ripped off or I'm getting a good deal? So I've just gave you the technical value that most of these go for. Good user grade value without a case can go anywhere from $30 to $50, okay? But finding a good condition one is the problem. How do I know that I have a good one, right? So there's some things to keep in mind when looking for razors. All right, the first thing is, do we have any plating issues, okay? And this can be rather hard to detect, okay? Typically, the places you're going to run into plating issues on these razors is not the handle, okay? It's either going to be up here on the top or the crown, or underneath here, or underneath here, okay? And one thing that can commonly get diagnosed with these is, do I have a plating issue, okay? And I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I have found is, if you can, when you go hunting, that's right, that's a toothpick with you, okay? And the reason there's two folds where I take this toothpick is because if you look under the hood of this thing here, you can see that it's kind of dark under here especially, right? So that's somewhere that might look like some corrosion and maybe something I'm dealing with, some plating loss. And even under here, you can see that there's some buildup here. And I will tell you, based on old soaps, I have ran across these things being brown and black underneath the hood here, underneath the top part of the razor. What I use this for, if I don't have this, I try to use my fingernails best I can. Because what you're looking for, like if you look at the top of this, you look at the very top crown of this, and for me, it kind of looks like we might have some plating issues right along the very top right here. So there's one of two things. When it's on the top, it's real easy to just run your fingernail along. And as I'm doing this, you can see that the paint or the stuff is scraping off. If it doesn't scrape off, then it's a plating issue because you will feel your finger kind of catch. Don't go so aggressive at it that you're literally digging and scratching into it. But if you do happen to bring a toothpick, your toothpick with that fine point, you just give it a light scrape and you will see, like here, it's all coming off, okay? And now it's all coming off here, that means my thing along there is not a plating issue. It is simply a soap issue, which means it just needs a good thorough cleaning, okay? And under here, there's some white buildup, and sure enough, it is luckily just soap, okay? And I test all along this here, the adjusters on the bottom here, because this is where I find plating issues a lot of times, under razors. And it kind of, since it's a dry powder, as I'm scraping, I can see it making a white poof off, okay? So, good news so far. I don't have any plating issues on the top of the crown here, on the top of the lids, and so far everything down here underneath is checking out, okay? So now let's go to the base of the razor. This is right here where most of my plating issues I find on razors occur, okay? So same thing, just take either your nail or your toothpick if you have one with you and just give it a couple scrapes, okay? If you can see, I'm not using any pressure, and I can see that there's lines forming in the soap here, okay? And those lines, like right there, you can see, it is just soap. So literally, a good clean on this thing has no plating issues, okay? So that's my first thing I always do. I'm always looking for my plating issues. Here's the next thing when using an adjuster you should be looking for. I always start at 1. Okay, I go down to the dial 1 and listen. Clicks through all of them. So all of them are there. Now another thing to do, it's ever so slight, but those, once you get the hang of it, I turn it all the way back down to 1 and I watch my adjusters. I watch the furthest one from my eye, kitty corner. So this one right here, okay? In the back corner here. What I do is as I turn the dial, I can watch them go up. I watch them very intensely, and I watch the ones on the back corners go up. And if they're going up and down as I click it back and forth, that's a great hook too, okay? Then, so we've done the plating issues. We heard all the clicks. The adjusters are free and moving. Now comes the next one. Put it back to 1. Close your doors. Okay. And then I hold the razor just like this, looking down. I usually close one eye. And I look to see that this bar and this line here from the lid are straight, okay? And I'll do the same on the other side where I'll close the other eye and look and make sure that these two line up. And they kind of form like a little 90-degree edge all the way down. And you want to make sure that the gap under the lid here, along with this bar, stay even. Because that's your blade gap. Because sometimes these bars can be bent if the razor gets dropped on its head. So far, this razor has passed. Let's see. Check the plating, check. Adjusters, click, check. They move, check. Blade gap is all even. So 4 of the 5 tests. Now, a lot of people, you get it tight, finger tight. These, along with Fat Boys, have a locking last quarter turn. And then again, after I do the locking last quarter turn, I make sure that's nice and smooth. Smooth as butter. After locking, check the blade gap again. We are good. Okay. So this right here, when I clean it up, will be a fantastic razor. Okay. So as you can see, there's a lot of buildup under here and so on and so forth. Underneath here. There's some buildup down here, a little bit of stuff on the handle, okay? Now, one more thing you can do with your toothpick, and I didn't cover this in the cleaning video. If you look right here on the handle, you see this black dark mark. If you put this in the straight ridge of this, you can use the toothpick in that ridge and scraping that stuff off. You can see I took it off right there. So you know what I'm going to do? Now that I've showed you what to be looking for on a Slim, and I want to prove to you that this thing is going to shine like a diamond, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. No editing. I'm going to grab my cleaning gear. I'm going to clean the living bullcrap out of this thing, just following the same exact steps that I made in that video. And I will show you how this thing turns out. So now that we're back, we gave this thing the good old heave-ho. Now look at it. Just look at it shine. Look at that. You can see here really well. See if that focuses like it's supposed to, okay? See under there, super shiny now. The handle, that one spot, I'm not entirely for sure what that got stained with, but I'll tell you, this spot will not come off. So, maybe some more intense scrubbing and stuff, it will. But as you can see, this would be considered a very, very good user grade. We have no plating missing. We have still a pretty good sheen. Not a mirror finish, but a really good sheen. There's no missing plating. Everything is in working order. The locking turn, ultra smooth. The clickers work. Golden, all right? So this is what you are looking for when searching for an adjustable safety razor, okay? There is other things that we could go over with talking about, like regular twist to opens, a Malord that I got laying here that I happen to pick up. But I think we might save those for another day, because the things that I looked for and the things that I showed you on this are exactly the same for a Fat Boy, okay? So Gillette Slims and Gillette Fat Boys have very similar mechanisms, very similar builds, but obviously these ones seem to be a little bit more abundant, and they are a very good beginner safety razor, okay? Now, if you are a first time picking up one of these, one thing I do caution you, do not try to leave the doors completely locked closed and try to adjust it, especially with a blade in it, okay? That can ruin the adjusters, in some cases maybe even break them. But one thing you do need to do is to leave the doors slightly cracked as you adjust with a blade in here before you cinch it back down, okay, to use it, all right? That is the only thing, usability, I want to talk about on these. other than 1 is your most mild shave and 9 is your most aggressive shave, okay? Even on 9, I don't consider this razor ultra aggressive by any means, okay? And one other thing, you'd seen it featured Ultra Bright toothpaste in my how to clean video. This one, as you can see, is advanced whitening, okay? I've actually found that this is also at the dollar store. This one actually works better than the other one that I had used. So I've started using this one, okay, for cleaning and polishing. And here's the kicker. It is Colgate. I know you might not be able to see it, but it says Colgate right here around the rim of this. And it even says back here, Colgate, distributed by Colgate Company, all right? So, thank you for joining me tonight on Scott Shaves. Happy hunting and stay classy.